Portents of Fear is a horror fiction podcast which is intended for mature audiences. Discretion is advised. Welcome, Fearlings, to another weird and horrifying tale made just for you. I am your host, Michulhu, and I'll be your guide into the macabre and mysterious. Tonight we learn about the hideous workings of an unhinged cult in The Black Flame. Before we get started, take a moment to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single terrifying story. Tom adjusted his thin black tie, attaching a diamond-studded clip to its center. His deep burgundy silk suit fit perfectly. The mirror reflected an overly indulgent man, egocentric and cunning. Every detail of his persona had to be perfect. The smile, the hair, the outfit. He exuded confidence. He repeated the lie like a mantra. I am your father, your teacher, your everything. I will show you your true potential. All you must do is open your heart. He smiled. God, I'm good, he thought. Father, it's time, Colin said. Colin stood by the door, eyes down. He wore a dark blue suit with a thin black tie and shoes. All the men wore the same outfit. All the women wore light blue dresses. Conformity decluttered the mind and made all his children equal. Good. Please tell Mother no pills tonight. I need her lucid up there. At once, Father. The sun sank into dusk over the city. The dying amber of its light painted the sky. Below this masterwork of Mother Nature's creation sat the Church of the Eternal Father, a huge amphitheater with towering stained glass windows and the capacity to hold 30,000 people. His church numbers didn't reach that lofty height yet, but one must be able to expand. Tom hated the title megachurch, but he knew it applied. The crowd erupted as their father walked out on stage. Sarah followed close behind, holding Tom's hand. She'd already popped her pills before being told not to. Sarah was mother to the congregation, and she needed her little helpers. My children, keep standing. Let me bless you as you have blessed me. Yes, Father, a crowd replied. 18,000 voices of love washed over him. I bless you all. Your Father loves you. I am your heart. I am your soul. I am always by your side in spirit. Please sit. They did as Father said. The path to perfection begins and ends with obedience. I am your Father, your teacher, your everything. I will show you your true potential. All you must do is open your heart. Your unwavering faith in my love for you is perfection. Now I know many of you are new to the family. Know that if you open your heart to us, you will find perfection in all things. What is perfection? When you find yourself standing on the peak of creation looking down on the valley of man, when everything comes into view and it all just clicks, that, my friends, is perfection. The crowd roared with vacant-eyed enthusiasm. Night brought slightly cooler air to the rich streets of Beverly Hills. Rows of mansions and perfectly manicured lawns sat behind 10-foot fences. Tom's mansion used to belong to Ellis Wright, a silent film star who claimed to be a necromancer. Tom loved the backstory. To him, Ellis was a fellow con man using mumbo-jumbo to make bank. In a way, Tom felt he was carrying on Ellis's work. Tom looked over the night's receipts in his study. $253,000. Not bad for a day's work. But he did make more off those who never set foot inside his church. The classes, the retreats, the books, the pay-per-view, the streams, the merch. Those paid for the jets, lawyers, and drugs. The next goal was being recognized as a religion for tax exemption. Thinking about this, Tom raised his glass of 50-year-old scotch. Too evil, he chuckled. Setting his glass down, he noticed a strange black leather-bound book sitting on the corner of his desk. He picked it up. Where the hell did this come from, he wondered. It weighed a ton. Must be a gift, but from whom, he mused. The binding was stitched with gold thread. The pages were vellum. It had 6 multicolored silk bookmarks. The cover had an embossed gold symbol on the front. He started to thumb through it. The pages were filled with many different languages and notes in what he assumed was the former owner's hand. Many pages featured pictures of horrific scenes. Looking at them caused his head to hurt. He noticed that the red ink glistened in the lamplight as if still wet. He touched the crimson lettering and felt its moistness. It was fresh blood, but for some reason it didn't smear or cause the pages to stick together. He turned to the title page. The Black Flame by Ellis Wright, unabridged, printed in Hollywood, 1915. What the hell? It didn't escape his notice that he'd just toasted evil after thinking about Ellis in his old study. He started reading. To his surprise, the bloody script transformed from unknown script into modern English before his eyes. The process frightened him, but he couldn't stop reading. For a week, he shunned everyone, rarely eating or sleeping. After the 7th day, he assembled his inner circle. "Dear God, Tom, when's the last time you slept?" Fontaine asked, horrified by Tom's state. "Tom? You're to call me father, you know that." "Forgive me, father. Your appearance is alarming, that's all," Fontaine apologized. "With all due respect, father, you've missed 2 sermons this past week, so please understand our concern for your health." "Honestly, you look like you need medical assistance," Wilson interjected. "Yes, father, we only have concern for your well-being," Oliver chimed in. "Cut the crap. You're only concerned about your bank accounts. I haven't called you here so you can pretend to care. I called you to talk about a new path forward. We're about to reshape the world, gentlemen. There are greater goals than money." "Hold on. We all play along with this BS because it gets us cash and laid. We funded this little cult of yours, Tom. You can't start drinking your own Kool-Aid and expect us to follow," Colin snapped. The rest of the men shook their heads in agreement. "Yeah, I'm fine with calling you father, but the cult stuff we feed the marks is nonsense to make cash, nothing more." Tom frowned and started to pace. "I see. Well, let me remind you of the facts. I brought you into this venture with one request. Play the parts you're given, and I would make sure you get all the drugs, orgies, partner swapping, or partner killing you could want. Fontaine, you hunt teenagers at summer camps in a hockey mask due to an unhealthy fascination with Jason. Who makes sure you're not caught? Me. Wilson, you and your wife skeet shoot nude, high on cocaine in Hawaii all the time. Remind me, what do you use for skeets again? Don't want to say? I don't blame you. Colin, you lure men to cocaine-fueled bacchanalias. How many of those parties end up with me hiding bodies? The answer is all of them. And Oliver, sweet, innocent Oliver. You are by far the worst. Without my resort in Brazil, where would you go to safely indulge your twisted sexual fantasies with unwilling participants? The less said about that, the better. I've kept my part of the bargain, you degenerate ingrates. I expect you to do what I say or I'll hang you out to dry. Do you understand?" After a moment, Colin spoke up. "You're right. What must we do? This book has the secret to ultimate power. It's a ritual that I need your help with." "Magic, Tom? Father?" Oliver asked. "Yes, magic. I know it sounds insane, but trust me. We'll be kings ruling over Earth. You think we've got it good now? Imagine no law that could touch us, no desire too taboo, no thirst we can't quench. But the first step is the cage ritual. We start right away." Sarah sat on the end of her bed, staring out the large bay window across the Amazon forest canopy. She came here when she wanted to be away from Tom. Her life felt hollow. She understood the grift, sure, but droning on and on about obedience, worldly corruption, oppressive family members, enough already, she thought. At the window, she could see the sun peeking up over the trees. A perfect start to a new day, at least till the cravings set in. She thought about going cold turkey every morning, but she'd never been able to follow through. The door opened. "Mother, I bring good news. Father wants you to stay with us for a time," the cultist said. "Really? For how long?" "He didn't specify. I'm to get you whatever you need." "That's nice of you, child, but I'm not staying. In fact, I intend to fly back tomorrow," she replied. "I'm sorry, Mother, but he was quite clear. You're to remain at the resort. He also said it's for your own good, if that helps." "It doesn't. Tom isn't my father or keeper," she argued. Sarah went to grab her phone, but it was gone. "Where's my phone?" "I'm sorry, Mother, but we were told you're to stay here and that you didn't need your phone. When Father says you can have it back, we will gladly give it to you," the cultist apologized. He closed and locked the door. "You listen to me, you son of a bitch! I'm your mother and I demand you let me out!" She pounded on the oak door till her hands pulsed with pain, but no one came. She was trapped. It took 2 weeks for Tom to teach the ritual. Without a sermon, his congregation started to whisper about Father's well-being. They also wondered where Mother was. After the first week, Tom and his inner circle stopped asking for food. A few days after that, they no longer wanted water. Tom's study had been stripped bare to the floorboards. The black flame tome floated in the center of the room open to the ritual. Etched on the floor was a Yithian diagram of spatial power. Tom lied to himself about understanding the ritual. The book's study ate away at his sanity, but the words entranced them all. They had to see it through. Special Agent Davis scanned the evidence-filled corkboard. Things had been quiet for weeks. He hated quiet. Special Agent Brooks walked in with much-needed coffee. "Oh, thank God." "What, no donuts?" Davis chided. "I refuse to be a stereotype. There is chocolate in my purse, though," Brooks replied. She poured a healthy amount of cream into her cup, no sugar. "That'll work." Davis snagged a candy bar, promptly using it to stir his coffee. Brooks made a face. "I hate when you do that." "Let's talk about Tom Gates and his cult grift, shall we?" There's been no change for 3 weeks. Tom and his inner circle are still MIA. His followers seem to be at a loss. His network started streaming reruns of his sermons a few days ago. "And Sarah?" Davis inquired. "She got on a plane to Brazil a month ago. Since then, no call from her number. Do you think he killed her?" "It's possible. What about calls in or out of the mansion?" "Nope." Brooks took a long sip off her coffee, allowing it to touch her very soul. "We've no way of confirming if Sarah is alive or dead. It looks like we're in a holding pattern for right now," Davis said. He started to stare at the corkboard again. This guy couldn't be allowed to win, he thought. Rain pelted the rooftop. The thick air of the jungle hung just outside the air-conditioned bubble of the resort. It was as if the Amazon was trying to drown people on dry land. Since her imprisonment started, Sarah had lulled the servants into a false sense of security, obeying the rules, acting like she wasn't a threat. She was mother, after all. That meant something. She'd ordered a steak for dinner knowing they wouldn't think twice about giving her a knife to cut it. Her attendant opened the door. "Hello, Mother, I'm here to take your..." She plunged the knife into his throat, cutting through his esophagus before he could scream. Blood sprayed out, and he dropped to the floor. She grabbed his radio, ID card, car keys, and taser. His key ring had a lucky rabbit's foot on it. Ironic, she thought. She stuffed the guard in the closet and threw on new clothes. In around 5 minutes, she headed to the door. A bottle of pills sat on her nightstand. Sarah glanced at it for a moment before leaving, shutting the door behind her. She finally went cold turkey. Slipping into the hallway, Sarah scanned for more children. Using the shadows, she made it to the break room. The sound of conversation came through the slightly cracked door. She lingered long enough to learn that Tom and the others had locked themselves away in the mansion and no one knew what was going on. Taking the stairs down, she ran right into a guard. Before he could respond, she rammed the taser into his ribs, then slit his throat for good measure. With no time to hide the body, she kept moving forward. She opened the front door with the key card and made her way out into the torrential downpour. Making it to the parking lot, she clicked the alarm key. A Jeep's headlights flashed. She quickly climbed in and took off. She hit 75 heading towards the gate. The floodlights turned on at the resort. Sirens blared. The guards closed the gate. She gunned it to 90, smashing through the barrier. She'd done it. Back stateside, Tom instructed the staff to leave. The time had arrived. Each man stood at their assigned position. The ritual began. For weeks, the book's words had seeped into their brains. It rewrote their mental pathways, numbing them to its corruption. They hadn't noticed the weight loss, the sunken features, or the fact that they didn't care about anything but the ritual anymore. The words spilled from their mouths like water over a fall. Their bodies came apart at every joint. Their spines and ribs exploded from their torsos. Their heads detached, remaining still as the rest of their flesh and bones fused together, creating a horrific cage in the center of the room. It formed a dodecahedron that floated a foot off the ground. 5 hearts hung like a chandelier in the middle of the cage, still beating. Skin melted around the bone and muscle like cheese on a pizza. The cage complete, the 5 heads came together. Energy shot from the hearts and transformed them into Tom's mortal shell, but he was no longer human. Sarah stepped out of the taxi in front of the mansion. It had been a long trip, but luckily Tom hadn't frozen her accounts. She wondered why no one seemed to be there. She typed in her access code, opening the front gate. Brooks and Davis sat at their desks typing out reports that never ended. Davis's phone buzzed. "Yeah? What? When? Okay. Really? That's weird. No, let her go in. I don't want them to know we're watching. I'll talk with you soon. Thanks, Tina. Good work." He hung up. "Mother's home," he smiled. "Wow, I thought he killed her. I owe you a Coke." What'd they say that was weird? Brooks asked. I guess she showed up in a taxi looking like she'd bought her clothes at Target. That is weird. I've never seen her not in designer threads, Brooks replied. Want to go over there and see what's going on in real time? She's been gone a while. Might be trouble in paradise, Davis asked. True, and it gets us away from all this paperwork for a few hours, Brooks replied. Sarah closed the door behind her. The house felt cold, smelled terrible, and none of the lights worked. She climbed the grand staircase to the second floor, pushed the double doors open to her room, and went to the gun safe in Tom's closet. Tom assumed she didn't know the code. She did. Something told her a long time ago that Tom might let all this cult gibberish go to his head. The safe door popped open in the back of the closet. Leave it to Tom to make it feel like a cheap spy movie reveal. She loaded the shotgun. What do you plan to do with that, Sarah? It was Tom's voice, but also not Tom's voice. Her blood froze. She slowly turned, leveling the shotgun just at his stomach. You locked me up in Brazil, you ass! You've let this whole father thing go to your head. Oh, now, come on, sweetie. I'm sorry, but it was for your own good. He took a step forward into the closet. He smelled of boiled flesh, and his eyes were a strange violet. What happened to your eyes? And your voice? I've become a higher life form, sweetheart. Embrace me, and you can join Wilson, Oliver, Colin, and Fontaine. He lifted his shirt, revealing their faces pressed up against his flesh, screaming. He took another step forward. Stay back, Tom. What have you done? Sarah stammered, cocking the gun. I told you, I've become a superior being. I can see past time and space to where it all began. I've learned the ancient rites of magic. I have real power now, and my cult will become the religion of the world. He took another step forward. Stop! God damn it, Tom! Jesus Christ, Sarah stammered. Jesus? He's not part of this show anymore. I've got so much to show you, dear. I used to be like you, thought I had the world figured out, but I was missing something. Power, Sarah. I now have true power. And if you take my hand and obey, I'll share it with you. He put his hand out and took another step forward. She fired. The slug ripped a massive hole through Tom's stomach, right through Colin's screaming face. Tom didn't flinch. Please, Sarah. You're just embarrassing yourself now. You could have run away. You had all the money you needed. You wanted to come home. You want to be with me. He took another step forward. She shot him point blank in the face. Half his head was gone. Why won't you just die? He smiled a half-faced grin. We're going to be together forever, Sarah. It will be wonderful. He took another step. Tendrils shot out from the gaping wound on his head and wrapped firmly around her skull. She tried to cock the gun again, but dropped it instead. The tendrils began pulling her forward to Tom. Stop it! Please, no! I'm sorry! Let me go, please! She flailed, trying to break free, but within a moment she was nose to nose with him. Tendrils from the stomach wound wrapped around her midsection. Think of it, Sarah. You'll have a front row seat to eternity. Sarah screamed as Tom absorbed her entire body into his. Brooks and Davis arrived to a circus in the middle of Beverly Hills. An alphabet of agencies swarmed the streets. They jumped out of their car and searched for their surveillance team. Harris, Johnson, what's this mess about? There were 2 shots from inside the mansion 15 minutes ago. Then all the windows on the top floor blew out. We called for backup and the entire world showed up. I guess the address mattered. The place is surrounded and they're evacuating the area, Harris reported. How many people are in there? Brooks asked. Sarah went in about half an hour ago. Wilson, Oliver, Colin, Fontaine, and Tom haven't left the building in over a month now. All staff was sent out at 6 a.m. this morning. At least 6 people in a possible hostage situation. We have a negotiator on the way, Harris said. Okay, this is our case. We're taking command. Tell SWAT to prepare. If we have to, we'll go in, Davis instructed. Without warning, bullet-sized bolts of energy screamed out of the upper floor, tagging Beverly Hills police and special agents nearby. Harris, Brooks, and Davis hit the ground. A few feet away, Agent Cook and several BHPD officers lay dead from multiple wounds. Windows shattered, tires exploded, and engines caught fire. What was that? Brooks yelled over the sounds of the wounded yelling for help. It sounded like a laser. We need to shut this down now. I want tear gas in that second floor. Who's in charge of SWAT? Davis questioned. Mendez. He's lying over there. He doesn't have a head anymore, Harris replied, half stunned. Shit. Radio someone in SWAT now. I want tear gas in that second floor. Also, tell them to go through the back of the house and clear it out, Davis ordered. Harris nodded. Davis looked at all the carnage around him. The moaning of the wounded was deafening. If you can hear my voice, do not move from cover till I say so. If you're wounded, stay where you're at. Help is on the way, Davis commanded. Small electric bolts fired again, this time hitting the houses behind the agents, setting them on fire. SWAT is in position. They have an armored vehicle and are shooting tear gas into the second floor, Harris stated. Good. Brooks looked pale. Davis noted the blood was seeping through her coat. Brooks, you're hit. Oh, you're right. I think the adrenaline muted the pain. Davis quickly removed his coat and overshirt, ripping the fabric to make a bandage. The burn around the wound was like nothing he'd seen before. Lie on your back. Harris, keep pressure on the wound. Tear gas billowed from the mansion. Over the radio, the command for SWAT to move in boomed. Within moments, the sound of gunfire erupted and screams could be heard between volleys. Huge, fleshy chunks of officers flew through the second-story windows. The call for retreat went out from command, but no one responded. They'd all been killed. The entire top floor began to burn. Flames shot towards the sky. We have to fall back. Harris, grab her legs. Let's go. The two men quickly removed Brooks to a safer location. Newscopters buzzed high above, sending a feed of the devastation to the rest of the world. More body pieces were ejected from the building. The fire department waited in the wings for the all clear. The random sound of electric bolts whizzing by kept most people pinned down. It was at this point that the flames reached the downstairs study. The construct on the first floor activated. The cage of blood and bone drew in all matter around it. First the smoke and flames, then the entire building. Within a few moments, the mansion was gone. An ill quiet fell over the scene. No one moved. The only thing remaining was the construct. Its hearts beat a strange rhythm. The smoke cleared. Tom appeared on top of the cage. Time stood still, and no one knew what to do. They were gripped by shell shock. Raising his hand to the sky, Tom called out to the God at the center of the universe, that which dreamed reality and would one day wake, destroying it all. The cage below shook. Black flame erupted from the chandelier of hearts. Tom yelled as the energy washed over him. He and his cage were gone. What just happened? Brooks asked. I think we just lost. Amazing. Tom unlocked the Necromancer achievement of cult leadership. Tell me, would you read a random strange book that just appeared on your desk? Let us know in the comments. If you liked this Portents of Fear tale, consider joining our Patreon. There's a link in the description below. Want more horrific stories? Click on one of our other episodes on your screen now. Good night, Fearlings. Sleep well, if you can.